Friends, I'm not going to kid you. This is a very, very controversial video, but well worth watching. Hi, and thank you for joining me for another video. And friends, today I'm going to answer the old question on why are most Jews atheists? And why are around 96% of all Jews irreligious? Quick answer, because religious Jews have made them that way. Now, what I'm about to tell you clearly doesn't apply to every situation, but to at least 95% of all cases. So you're probably thinking, how is it the fault of religious Jews? Friends, I must tell you that Torah is perfect, and anything that comes from Torah is also perfect. And that I'm not a Karaite or a Messianic Jew, but a regular Orthodox Jew who can no longer sit idly by while a group corrupts the only true ethical well we have been given to drink from, and that well is Torah. So that, my friends, is the reason. The reason is because religious Jews have distorted and twisted Torah to such an extent that nobody wants it. So today, my friends, I'm going to explain why nobody wants it anymore, and why so many Jews who grew up in the faith have now left the derech, and how you can join the effort in helping fix the problem. Well, anyways, like we said, friends, first and foremost, you have to realize that Jews have distorted Judaism. And friends, I'm saying that they distorted it from an Orthodox perspective. What do I mean? Well, according to the very standards of Orthodox Judaism, what is believed and practiced today by most Orthodox Jews is not Judaism. So, what is Judaism? According to every leading authority, Judaism are the belief and practices that either stem from either the written law or the oral law. In other words, the written law, the 5 books of Moses, is our foundation for what the Almighty expects us to believe and do. And within those 5 books is also sanctioned the existence of a court to guard and explain the laws within the 5 books. And this is what is known as the oral law or rabbinic law. Now, before we go any further, I must explain to you a few principles that you must learn to help you understand Judaism properly and how the halachic system works. And they are that, 1, the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, has full authority to institute belief and practice in the life of every Jew. And 2, that the oral or rabbinic law only has authority to establish practice and not belief, and only when it does not contradict the written law. And this is Judaism, my friends. In other words, everything a Jew believes and teaches and does has to stem from either the 5 books of Moses or the rulings of the Great Court, also known as the Sanhedrin. And friends, the vast majority of rabbis today, actually around 98% of them, do not base everything they believe, teach, or do on either of these sources. And this, my friends, is why people are not drawn to Judaism anymore. Now, I've worked in Kiruv and Jewish outreach for almost a decade now, from Jerusalem, Virginia, Denver, and now Miami. And I have heard virtually every excuse why Jews do not want to be religious anymore, and have been able to link virtually every one of those excuses to a false teaching that has been fabricated by the rabbis. Teachings that do not stem from either Torah Shebiktav, the written law, or Torah Shebal Peh, the oral law or rabbinic law. Anyways, the first reason for Jews not wanting to be religious is insularity. Jews are taught that Jews and Judaism have nothing to offer the rest of the world. That everything that exists or has ever existed was solely created for the Jew, and soon all Gentiles will eventually be the servants of the Jews. And friends, it's a bit hard to tell anyone who is aware of all the atrocities that our generation has been plagued with, that the world's only true religion does not care about everyone else's suffering. And it's even harder for them to believe that the only true standard has no solution or answer to give a suffering world. Well, my friends, this is exactly what people are told. That Torah is only for ethnic Jews. Why? Because, as they teach, Jews are intrinsically special, apart from what they believe and how they behave, and non-Jews are intrinsically impure and inferior to every ethnic Jew. Again, a concept that does not appear in Torah. And they go further and teach that every non-Jew really unknowingly hates every Jew, and the only way to defend ourselves from that hatred is to unite and isolate ourselves. Kind of depressing, huh? And when an unaffiliated Jew asks serious questions for their personal problems, something to fill that void, that hole deep within them seeking for meaning, they're just bombarded with so much mysticism, or what has come to be known as Kabbalah, filled with stories of demons and magic and Jewish superstition that leaves them more confused than how they started. And after they fall from that artificial high, they never seek Judaism again. Now, this is not Torah. Absolutely not. Not at all. No, friends. This is nonsense made up by modern rabbis. Now, let's confront these ideas head on within the parameters of orthodoxy. First, nowhere does it say it in Torah that Jews are intrinsically special. Nowhere. As a matter of fact, at least in Torah Shebektav, we are constantly reminded that only if we keep God's Torah are we his treasured people. Actually, the Torah teaches us that when Jews collectively suffer, it's not because of any sort of intrinsic non-Jewish hatred, but because of our collective sin, because of us, because of our transgressions. And again, how do we know this? Because it comes from the only place we're allowed to build belief from, and that's the Torah, the Chumash itself. And you must know that the Torah doesn't speak about demons, superstition, magic. As a matter of fact, these are beliefs that we're constantly warned to stay away from. Beliefs and customs held by pagan nations. So you're probably thinking that this is mainly what my campus rabbi teaches me. Well, my friends, it's time for you to get a new rabbi. And about Jews being the all-in-all of creation, this is just another biblically unsustainable claim. No, friends, Torah is clear that the only thing that makes us special and the only thing that gives us any worth is the fact that we keep Torah, and that's all. In other words, it's based ultimately on what we do and not who we are. Something that could be achieved by anyone who chooses to keep Torah, no matter who they happen to descend from. So being that this concept of true worth stems only by the path we choose and the commands we decide to keep, this should obviously make us think, hey, why shouldn't everyone around me embrace this same Torah and also acquire the same self-worth? Duh! So the notion of hiding is antithetical to a people who acquire their worth through their actions. In other words, if the Torah has the power to transform you from stones to diamonds, it also has the power to transform anyone else. So instead of hiding, this should logically behoove you to go out and spread this truth to others, and thus lose your shell of insularity. And friends, this leads me to the silly non-biblical idea that Jews and Judaism have nothing to offer the rest of the world, when constantly in Torah we see that it states that Hashem is doing this or that so that the nations would know that he is God. Or by us keeping Torah, it would inspire the nations by causing them to say what a wise and discerning people we are. Or how the prophet mentions that we're obligated to be a light into the nations. Or how Chazal teaches that the only reason we were exiled from Israel was in order to gather in converts. Or how the Rambam mentions that the way you fulfill the mitzvah of loving Hashem is by doing what Abraham Avinu did in Haran, by seeking converts. Or how the Rambam writes elsewhere that Jews are allowed to go out and encourage non-Jews to convert to Judaism. And what? And that we should not fear doing so. Or how the Ibn Ezra writes that the reason Jews were required to bring non-Jews to hear Torah being read during Hakel was only so that they should be encouraged to convert. Or how it states in Talmud Yerushalmi that Hashem spared Chizkiyahu's life due to the many converts that his ancestors brought near to Hashem. Or how Tanhum Alecha teaches that converts are dearer to the Almighty than even born Jews. And there are many, many more sources that leave no room for anyone to come and say that we have nothing to offer the rest of the world. And no, friends, I'm not even mentioning the 7 laws of Noah. Why? Because there is no source that we're commanded to share the 7 laws with non-Jews. Laws that are light years more primitive than modern day Christianity or Islam. And this, my friends, I believe is one of the main reasons Judaism is hurting nowadays, and why none of the youth wants to remain Jewish. Why? Because they live in a world and are aware of the pain and the suffering their peers are struggling with. And suddenly they're supposed to heed the words of some campus rabbi that is telling them that they're intrinsically special, and to turn their back on their friends and sometimes even their family to follow some bigoted notion. This is why secular Jewish kids are activists. This is why they've spearheaded erroneous movements like communism and the hippie peace movement, because they're like all of us who want to make this world better but have received no such encouragement from their religious leaders. And why they haven't just become Christian or Muslim, because all they've heard their whole lives is that one of the main things that solidifies them as Jews and thus ethical is the fact that they're not Christian or Muslim. And again, not belief or actions, which is why typically the belief system that people embrace just before becoming atheists is Judaism. Why? Because it is the source of all the other major monotheistic religions, and people feel that they will find truth there. And my friends, I, Rabbi Asher Meza, am telling you that there is truth there. All the truth you will ever need. So if you could relate with anything I just said, don't give up on Torah. And that's why I'm making this video, to tell you what Judaism is all about. That the reason we were given the Torah and Har Sinai in the first place was to spread it and usher in peace for all mankind. So the purpose of it all was for everyone to become Israel. Like the prophet stated, for all of them to worship the Creator together with pure lips, teaching us that the only thing that separates a Jew from a non-Jew is the fact that we have accepted Torah, and they haven't. Which is why Torah is for everyone, and you can lend a hand to making that a reality. And my friends, if you haven't gotten the answers to your very important questions, I want to let you know that the Almighty loves you and has a life reserved for you, full of hope and goodness, which is just a result of living this life by a set of infallible divine instructions we call Torah. For more information on living a Torah lifestyle and either becoming or rededicating your life as a Jew, please visit bejewish.org. Thank you.